So what we've been doing again, we've been doing solving for x's on both sides. So our first example is 5x plus 3 equals to 2x minus 12. So remember, on your side, you guys should be copying these notes, copying these examples, and then try to do them by yourself. So my first question is, what is our goal? What is our goal for this problem? Well, if there's directions, it would probably say solve. But even without that, the natural inclination for us in algebra is to figure out what x would be to make both sides of the equation equal. If x was 1, would that make them equal? If x was 2, would that make them equal? And instead of guessing, we have a process of solving for this. We said, know what? Our first goal is to, 1, identify our variable. What are we solving for? So we have x's on both sides. Now, we want to get those x's to the same side. And the next hint was to move x's to the bigger side. Which side has bigger x's? So first hint was move x's to the bigger side. It was either if x to the bigger side, or maybe x was alone. So in this case, we have 5x and 2x. So I see that 5x has more. So if you're hanging out with your friends, do you want to go to their friend's house with more stuff or less stuff? I want to go to the house with more stuff. So I'm going to say, hey, 2, why don't you come over here and hang out with me? To move over from the equal sign, we do the opposite operation. What's the opposite of plus 2x? It's going to be minus 2x to both sides. 5x minus 2x is 3x plus 3 is equal to negative 12. Now we're back to an easy level 1 problem. Oops. Back to easy problem. Now with this problem, do we get rid of the 3 from the 3x or the plus 3? My question always follows, what is farthest away? Solving for x, we have to get rid of the 3 or the 3. And we said, whichever is farthest away. Now, 3 is multiplying in the front, and the 3 in the back is addition. And if you want to go PEMDAS, the opposite order of PEMDAS is get rid of the plus first. We're going to minus 3 to both sides. 3x equals to negative 15. If you owe me 12 and you owe me 3 more, you owe me a lot of money. You owe me 15. Our last step here, what's the opposite of multiply by 3? Opposite of multiply by 3 is to divide both sides by 3. X is equal to 15 divided by 3 is 5. And we want to bring in our negative sign because a negative divided by a positive is still a negative. If we only have one negative sign, we keep it. Okay, so I'm going to ask you guys a couple questions following up with this, just to practice on our, what should I solve first? So we're going to look at our example C first. Let's look at example C. My question to you guys, and please look at the poll, it's going to come up in just a moment, is what do we get rid of first? The 2, the 1, or the 4 to solve for t? Okay, the 2, the 1, or the 4 to solve for t. The poll is coming up. Yes, let me get it. Okay, let's make a decision. This is a 20-second poll. Which one is farthest away? The 2, the negative 1, or the 4? And to get rid of it, we do the opposite operation. Okay, let's take a look at the results. So we're kind of everywhere with this poll. I see one person says we subtract 1 from both sides. I have 6 people say we should add 1 to both sides. We have 5 people say we should multiply 2 to both sides. And 2 people say divide by 2. Okay. So there are actually a couple ways of solving this, actually. T over 2, let's write that over. T over 2 minus 1 is equal to 4. Okay, so we could do what we talked about before by getting rid of the farthest number. And the farthest number here, so let's say t is you. This is you. Okay, that's you. What would be closer to you? The divide by 2 or the minus 1? Which one is keeping socially distant from you? Well, 2 is pretty much stuck to me. So the 1 is what's farthest away. And we have to start learning that. We get that in our brain. So we would add 1 to both sides. So those of you guys who said plus 1 to both sides, you got it right. 100%. Good job. For those guys who didn't, we have to be able to identify, making sure that we see the difference. Though numbers look alike, they're all very different, and each position means something different. Now here, what should we do next? Let's take a look at up the poll. Okay, what should we do next to solve for t? Cool, thank you those guys who were able to participate within our 20 seconds. And most of you guys actually said multiply by 2. Great job. So if it's not many things going on, it's actually kind of obvious. So good job. So we're going to multiply by 2, like what you guys asked me to. And then we end up with t is equal to 10. Because 2 divided by 2 cancels out, giving me a clean t. Now, a few of you guys actually said I could multiply both sides by 2. And that is a nice way of doing it too. But it does take us more work. So let's write it over here. I'm going to say instead, multiply by 2. Now this isn't the easiest way, but I'm going to multiply the left side by 2 and the right side by 2. So please notice I use a parentheses. I'm using a parentheses right now. So when we use a parentheses, we want to distribute the 2 to both sides. Sorry, to everyone inside the parentheses. So I'm going to write it out. It'll be 2t over 2 minus 2 times 1. You write these in parentheses here. Is equal to, let's finish that and call that 8. Because 4 times 2 is 8. Now on the left side, as you can see, we multiplied everyone. Now I want you guys to be comfortable with multiplying fractions. You can multiply 2 by t, giving us 2t over 2. That divides out. Yay, 2 divided by 2 is 1. We're left with 1t. And 2 times 1 is just negative 2. 2 times 1 is 2 with a negative sign. Now, usually I prefer not to do this if I don't have to, but we could have done it. And it gives us a slight problem, very similar to our answer from before, plus 2 to both sides. T is equal to 10. So both answers give us the same, although both answers are the same, well, they better be, because there's only one solution for t here. So you want to be really careful. If you do multiply both sides by 2, you want to make sure you multiply everyone on the left side by 2. Now a very common mistake is if people write it this way, 2t over 2. Whoops, let me write it with a different color. 2t over 2 minus 1 is equal to 4 times 2. What if I do this, only multiplying one part by 2? Did I really multiply both sides by 2? Now the example here is, remember we talked about the Lunchables? And in a Lunchable, again, we said we had like 3 pepperoni and then 3 pieces of cheese and 1 juice box. If I multiply this by 2, we should have 6 pepperoni. We should have 6 pieces of cheese. And we should have 2 juice boxes. But what we do here, if I multiply both sides by 2, you might forget to multiply the backside by 2. So if you just wrote t divided by t cancels out and we're left with t minus 1 is equal to 8, you've messed up because you didn't multiply everyone by 2. So that negative 1 would be messed up because we didn't multiply. So that's why you want to make sure, like what we wrote here. Let me highlight this real quick. And this is bad, right? This is bad. And it's a very common mistake. That's why I prefer actually to just use our order of operations in reverse, get rid of what's farthest away, so you don't make simple mistakes. Okay, let's do another problem. Remember, this is really just review. A lot of this is just review. We're gonna look at the next problem here, and that's gonna be our example B. Looking at example B. That's gonna be the letter S minus 13, all divided by 3 equals 2. I'm solving for S. Now for this problem, we identify what numbers we have to get rid of. That's going to be the negative 13 and the 3. And which of these numbers will be farthest away? So I'm going to write this again a little differently, like an onion. Let's write S minus 13 over 3 is equal to 2. And I'm going to say the S is my little onion. The first thing I'm going to do to S is the 13. And all this is going to be divided by 3. So which of these values would be the farthest away? And that will lead us to say, what is the first operation I need to undo? Okay, so take a moment and look at that and to make a decision. What number are you going to get rid of first? The 13, the 3, or the 2? Okay, here's the poll. What would you do first? Oops. Do we get rid of the 13, the 2, or the 3? Okay, let me share the poll. So we're kind of split. Some people are saying get rid of the 13 first. Some people are saying minusing the 2. And some people are saying multiply by 3. Now the correct answer is we want to multiply both sides by 3. We want to multiply both sides by 3. S minus 13 over 3 is equal to 2. Now again, the whole goal of algebra, right, is to be able to identify the parts. Any job that you get, there'll be the skill of identifying like what is the situation, what is the problem. And if you can't like get good at that, you're gonna suck at your job. You're gonna be that guy who just doesn't notice anything. So our goal is to solve for S. Now, which would be farthest away? Now again, let's take S as the order of operations. If I see S to start, do I subtract 13 first or divide 3? So if we say we subtract 13 first, that is what's closest to S. That is what's closest to S. So 3 is the farthest away operation. So we really have to get that in our brain so we don't make these like simple mistakes again. If 13 happens first, that means that's the closest operation. So we want to get rid of the farthest operation. So the farthest operation is we're going to multiply both sides by 3. If you guys have been working with IXL, you guys have practiced this a lot already. And if you guys haven't been working with IXL, you might be lacking the skill and you're going to be in trouble for our next test. Math is all about practice, guys. Okay, we divide 3 by 3. Those cancel out, leaving me S minus 13 is equal to 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, next step should be pretty easy for us. How do I get rid of the 13? We add 13 to both sides. S is equal to 19. Though it's a big number, let's try it. Let's plug it in. 19 minus 13 over 3. Is this equal to 2? That doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it. 19 minus 13 is 6. 6 divided by 3 is a 2. So we did find the correct answer. Okay, we have one more problem today. And today it's gonna lead us to harder problems. And again, we're just reviewing right now. Okay, let's do our last one here. So our example A looks like a crazy mess here. Example A. I want to ask you guys, first, decide what is my variable. Okay, what is the variable here? -2, open parentheses, y plus 1, close parentheses, plus 3 equal to 17. Step number 2, decides what numbers have to go. What numbers do I have to get rid of? Next thing, decide on the order in which I'm going to get rid of these numbers. What numbers do we get rid of first? Do we get rid of the -2 first, the plus 1, or the plus 3? Okay. So I'm going to set up a poll. I want you guys to figure out which of these would be the farthest away from y. And that, in essence, is walking backwards. So which of these would I get rid of first? So you're going to tell me what's my first step. Okay. Great job. Most of you guys decided that we should subtract the 3 first, and that is 100% correct. 2, open parentheses, y plus 1, close parentheses, plus 3 is equal to, I forgot what that number was. Let me go, 17. 17? Okay, so you guys told me to get rid of the 3 first, minus 3 to both sides. -2 parentheses y plus 1 equals to 17 minus 3 is 14. Okay. Next question. Let's look at the poll again. What's my next move? Do you want to get rid of the outside -2 or the inside plus 1? Okay, thank you. A little less confidence here, but most people chose to divide by -2. So at this step here, there's actually 2 possible ways of solving it. Before, the way I taught this was that you could distribute the -2. But I'm going to show you guys the fast, smart way of doing it. And that is, if possible, can I divide 14 by 2? Would that be hard to do? Make that decision. Would it be hard to divide 14 by 2? everyone in the participants, please click yes or no. Is dividing 14 by 2 hard or easy? Hard means it's yes, and no means it's easy. Hard means yes, it's hard, and no, Mr. Ko, it's easy. Okay, is it hard for me to divide 14 by 2? Is it hard for me to divide 14 by 2? I'm seeing a lot of you guys saying it's easy, right? So it turns out the next move here really should be, thank you guys, is to divide by 2. And I'm going to show you guys the trick. If I write divide by 2, divide by negative 2 on both sides, 14 divided by 2, that's easy. Y plus 1, since no one's outside, we can take away the parentheses, is just negative 7. You could do this. Negative 2y minus 2 is equal to 14. I want to ask you guys, which next step would have been easier? Was it multiplying both sides by negative 2? Sorry, dividing both sides by negative 2? Or distributing the parentheses? Which of these look easier to you? I would say, for sure, this one looks easier. Now, can you always divide nicely? No, that is not always going to be the case. So sometimes it would be easier to distribute the parentheses. But if you can divide nicely, please do it. Our last step is minus 1, y is equal to negative 8. Let's see on the right if this would give us the same answer. Get rid of the plus 2. Negative 2 equals to positive 16. And then divide both sides by negative 2. A couple more steps, a lot more writing, but same answer. So part of algebra is also making that smart decision of which path would be the fastest path, the path of least work. And that's kind of a logic that you learn in algebra. If you guys don't like working, and I'll raise my hand here, if you guys don't like working, algebra is a way to optimize your path. Like, what would be the path of least resistance? Okay. So today, what you guys are going to do, you're going to do IXL right now in class, and I want to see your progress.